Levi's taking a hip hop class right now.
I cannot wait. Like, did it start? Because remember he told us that it was going to start? Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
So lately, Hannah said he's very particular about his clothes.
Oh.
And he goes, I need a look.
Oh, I can see him saying that.
I need a look before we go to Target. So he came out and he had on his look, head to toe, including the hat, backwards, but a little bit off here.
Right.
And he goes, I have my look for Target.
Oh my word. I love that kid so much. That's so awesome.
When he is in, he's all in. Like,
oh, yeah.
Absolutely must be the look.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I can, yep. That's him completely. That's amazing.
Love him.
I love that.
I know.
That's so good.
I hope his siblings just like him.
Right.
I can't wait to find out. I know. I have that feeling.
I'm just going to keep saying she.
I have that feeling, and I honestly don't even have this hardcore, I would give anything to have a granddaughter.
Right.
I really don't care, but I just seriously, in any reference, it's always been she, and I'm like, oh, that's odd. I've never had that because it's always been he, because it's just assumed, and we'll see.
So we found out this week that my niece is pregnant. She's due in May. So it's like the first one.
Yes.
So, yeah. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the podcast or not, but it was announced. Anyway, she's having a boy.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Our kids don't know yet because we didn't tell them yet.
Oh,
only because we haven't seen them.
So.
Oh, you did tell them?
Logan doesn't know.
Oh, that's nice. Logan doesn't know. Everybody else does, apparently.
So, hi, Logan.
About creating mountains where the valleys used to be. And all the things I thought I knew were changing like the seas. Yeah. But I've overcome it all and I'm still here. Oh, I gotta change perspectives if I really want to see.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
Welcome to season 2. We are so excited that
I forgot
you guys
season
have come back.
All of a sudden, I'm like,
You're like, what are we doing? It's so exciting.
Season 2.
Season 2, yeah.
Look at
It's
us.
like we're moving on up. I know. We even like switched locations in the studio.
I know.
It's great. And we're back in the
wonderful.
studio because we have
Yes.
spent the past, since May, we have been outdoors, and
loved
that
it.
was amazing. I loved that.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I loved the Art Prize location. I loved the
was
people on the
so
street
great.
walking by,
Yes.
watching the people in the background, even Bell Ringer Boy.
Oh, yeah.
You know who you are, but I know you just were excited to get in on the action. But
It was so great to watch them walk past and then turn around and like wave at the camera.
I know.
It was very fun.
It was so good. And congrats to
Thank
you.
you.
I want to make sure I say that here and now. I am so unbelievably proud of you. This was your very first time in Art Prize.
Yes.
Displaying something that is just a passion of yours. And can I say, to make the top 25, yay! Your first
so
go
exciting.
round is incredible. And I hope you recognize what an accomplishment that is. It's huge.
do. I mean, I do. I think when it first hit me, I was just moved to tears. You
Yes.
know, it was just amazing. And then as the time went on and like the weight and like the gravity of what that actually meant, like settled in even more.
Yeah.
And so it's
Yes.
it's
Well
a true honor.
done.
Yeah.
Well done. I'm just so crazy proud
I was
of
so
you.
sad when I had to go take it down.
I saw the pictures and it was like, oh.
The store just doesn't look the same without it.
It
on
needs
there
to be
and-
seen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
So
I
we'll
know
figure
there's
out- I
some
haven't figured out
amazing
what I'm doing
place
with it.
that
Yeah.
I think it should be like this traveling
That's what I wanted
mental
to do.
health smile
But I don't know
type
who to talk
thing.
to about
so,
that to figure that out.
all right, I'm
so.
going to put my brain into continued action.
And I haven't had a moment to really think about it.
Have you been busy?
Yeah, and that's actually, look at how we segued again. We're so
I
good
know.
at this. So today we're going to talk about the busyness of life
Mm-hmm.
and the crazy schedules that people hold these days.
Right.
And, you know, we're in October now and
Yep.
fall has come. School is-
Holidays are coming.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna blink and it's gonna be Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then life takes a sudden pause in January.
And depression hits then.
It hits hard. It hits hard. So that is definitely going to be a future conversation that we're going to have.
I'm eager to talk
we have
about
some
these.
ideas on how to combat that this year. But for now, the reality is I haven't done anything with my art prize thing because I literally haven't had a moment to sit and figure that out. I work 7 days a week right now, and I'm just go, 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 go. And I only have one child in sports. I can't imagine the parents that have multiple, because that's what we've always had.
Yes.
And I
maintaining those schedules, and
it's so much. And I think it's so much for everybody in the family. I don't think it's just, all on mom or all on dad.
No,
or
it
on the
affects the
parents.
family.
It's the whole family. I mean, I've gotten to the point where I now announce to my children, I am making dinner tonight, because it's not a normal thing. It's like a special occasion.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Do you have your dishes back?
I do, and I'll tell you why. And it had nothing to do with my family. It had more to do with me. And I got tired of having to go and find my own secret dishes. And so I just decided to put them back. And yes, of course, they are back in my sink where they apparently belong. But
you just have a different location to store them.
Yeah.
Temporarily.
That's okay. I got my point across.
And that is it. Exactly. It is okay.
It is.
It's okay.
It is. And I did that Facebook post the other day, and I just took pictures of my house. This is what my house looks like. Legit. I walked around and just took photos.
Loved that you did that. Because I think part of the problem comes when people don't allow themselves to post the real in life. So it looks a different way. And I understand that. I do understand that. But it will leave so many people feeling, I think, wrongly, like, well, what's wrong with me that I can't? I mean, because they're busy. I know they have kids and they're doing all this, and then people can internalize that and think, what's wrong with me? I'm not keeping up with it. I should be doing this. And it's
that's
just
the
not
key
the case.
right there. Should. That's the key word, because where does that get defined? Who says
decided
that we should do certain things, or that our houses should look a certain way?
Right.
And, I mean, to me, as long as it's not like filthy dirt,
Yes.
I'm like, okay, this is what we can do right now. This is what we've got. Do I have mounds of laundry? Yes. Do I have dishes in my sink? Yes. Do I have critters crawling around? No. Like, I keep it clean, but it's just cluttered because I just don't have the time.
You rush in, probably quick change if you even have the luxury of that, and then it's back out the door.
It is.
For something else.
It is. And it just, I think for the first time, so we'll use Art Prize, for example. I had taken off as many days as I could for work, right? But then I replaced my work time with, I was down at Art Prize talking to people. And my family were great. They were so great about that.
That was literally being an Art Prize. For anybody that may not understand what it's like for the artist, it's like a job.
It is.
Because you should be there and interacting
And a lot of people were saying, oh, you're actually here. Like, most artists were not down by their pieces. And
really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the ones that are the ones that did better in the competition.
I always loved it when the artist was there because I love talking with them. Yeah. I love the creativity, and I love hearing the reasons for the particular piece. So I'm disappointed to hear that most
a lot of them just put their art up and walked away.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not judging that. I mean, that's just what they can do.
It's interesting to me.
But I knew my piece was not self-explanatory. And so I knew that I needed to be there as often as I could to explain the story.
Right.
So during that time, I did still have to work. I mean, it was an 18-day competition. I can't take 18 days off, but there were... So the thing that I know that I did right this time, because I've had really busy seasons before. I mean, I've had...
Yes.
Projects that I'm in the middle of, I have all these things. And historically, what I've done is I shut the world out, including my family, and I just hyper-focus on that.
Right.
And I let everything else go to the wayside. My relationships with my kids, husband,
you
things
kind
like
of
that.
check out from it.
And this time, I did it differently. Yes. And I was very, very intentionally trying to, when we were talking, I was fully engaged. I would put my phone down.
You were
I would
present.
spend the time. I would, find the time to be able to, whether it was 5 minutes or an hour, to spend time with my family, send them little texts, send them, just try to stay connected
I love it.
with everything, because I feel like I've gotten that very, very wrong in the past. And then my kids grow to resent the very exciting thing that I'm involved in.
Because
they then see
it's
that
taking
as,
you completely away.
Exactly. This time, they were all so excited. They brought their friends. They were telling everybody, and they were super, super supportive.
I love
of
it.
And it wasn't like this was any better than anything I had done in the past, but they knew that this wasn't my everything.
Your approach was different.
It was so different.
So as you said that, I would take 5 minutes with somebody who sets their phone down and is fully engaged with me over 2 hours of somebody like this.
Right. Because they're not listening. And if
I'm sorry,
did
what
have
did
to
you say?
answer something, I would say something like, what you're saying is really important. Hold on just a second.
Yes.
And I would answer it, and I would put my phone back down and continue. You know, and I feel like that's so much more important than trying to multitask when you're communicating with somebody. That's not a space for multitasking in your life.
And you're not communicating then.
No. Yeah.
So done.
Yeah. So I'm glad because there's growth, you know, and I just feel like maybe that could help somebody else in those busy times.
No, and it's such an easy, doable tip. It's not hard to set your phone down for just 5 minutes.
Right.
If your world's going to implode in 5 minutes away from your phone, I'm just going to say it, you need to take a very realistic look at your life because it's not healthy, for anyone around you, but most importantly, it is so not healthy for you.
Right.
And I'm not saying you in
I know what you're
particular,
saying.
just generally speaking, when you get too busy to disconnect from a phone because you might miss something, it's time to take a good evaluation of your life for your own sake. I'm just telling you, do yourself a favor and evaluate the necessity of all of it. Is it a game? Is it a app? Is it go down the rabbit hole of a reel or all of a sudden everything, there's all these shiny things out there to get your attention. And I know that there's business stuff too. I know, I get that and I understand that. But our phones, man.
Yeah.
So,
for example, the other day, the Addison had a half day of school. So she had some of the girls that came over and I walk in the room and they're all sitting in there on their phones. And I was like, nope. I said, put your phones down and go find a game to play.
Yes.
And they were like, okay. And they went downstairs and they found a game and they were like, will you play with us? Now, this was one of those mom moments where I was like, I have 4 sessions to be editing, right? Like I had all of these things that I needed to get done. And so I said to them, yes. I said, I will play with you at the table right here.
Right.
And I said, and I'm also going to be going through some photos right here. But I was engaged with, I actually won the game, which was really funny.
Yes.
They were like, wow, you're like doing 2 things at the same time.
You're competitive.
I'm very
Is that
competitive.
a thing?
Yes. And this was a game of like reading people and understanding what they would want. It's like, it was like an apples to apples game, except it was, a different brand of it or whatever.
Games.
And they were like, how are you so good at this? I'm like, because you guys, I know you guys. I'm like, that all you have to do is know somebody pretty well, and then you can predict what they're going to like and what they're not. And they're like, oh, wow. Like, and so they realized I was fully paying attention in the game to them.
Yes.
So much so that I knew which ones that they would like. And then it came to one point, I had a very, very important email that came through that was time sensitive. And so I just said, skip my turn for a minute.
Yes.
I took care of what I needed to, and then I was back in.
For sure.
You know? So again, I communicated that to them. I just said, just skip my turn.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't mind because then I didn't win any more than that. But again,
I love it because you told them.
I was busy and I knew that I didn't have the time to just stop working completely.
Right.
You know? But I wanted to still be a part of that.
Yes.
And I think that, I don't know, I didn't get that right again earlier in life. I would just be like, no, closed off. I would close my office door. So a lot of people, you work from home now, right? A lot, ever since COVID, it's kind of the new norm, right? And so you have to be at home and you have to get the work done. And you also have your littles and you have your kids and all of that. So it's just communicating and figuring out how to make all of that fit. Because if anybody else is like me and you're just like, if I could just focus on work for 15 minutes, I would get so much done. But you can't. You have to split your focus so then you know it's going to take longer than 15, and you need to be okay with that.
That's the thing.
And that's the biggest thing, is to be okay with that. And
I know.
Yeah.
Life, man.
Yes.
It is.
Yep.
And getting busier, I feel. And I don't think that's going to get any better in the near future. And I say that literally because as simple as going to the grocery store and watching the cost of your groceries going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Like, take yesterday, for instance, because we do the shopping every Thursday morning for David's house. And it was on the last house Robert was delivering the prior to, and I shopped and checked out. So I'm seeing all the prices, and I was floored because I'm just going to say I don't do the grocery shopping. My husband does.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So I haven't been, eyeball to eyeball with the prices
pricing on
of stuff.
things, yeah.
And I was literally, and I mean that, I was almost speechless at how much things cost. And then I think this isn't going to help people at all with busyness, because it's going to mean more work, more stress, more worry, because the cost of living is so high.
Oh,
and
it's unbelievable.
with the chaos in our world, and there's no getting away from it.
Yeah. So let's talk about self-care when you're so busy, especially
Yes.
as a woman and as a mom.
I would love to.
Because I feel like that stuff gets set to the wayside.
It does.
And I think people don't realize how important that part of it is.
Very much
And
so.
it's the whole statement of you can't give from an empty bucket.
It's necessary. It's not just a
So
suggestion.
necessary.
It is
Yeah.
something you must do, or you will burn out.
You will.
And other people will suffer the effects of your burnout along with you.
Yes.
I think we can get easily caught up in the, well, this is just affecting me and I'm going through this. No.
And we think other people can't see it.
Right. And they
And they
do.
can.
Like, I can read it on you all over. I
Yeah.
think I've come to know you well enough that there's times I'll see you around people doing this and I'm like, my Sarah's not okay. And I can read it. And I know your tells
Yeah.
and the signs of it. And you do an amazing job always being professional in every setting I have ever seen you in when it calls for that. But I can tell it's work.
Oh, yeah.
And not in a way that anybody else, I think, would probably see unless they really knew you or
I would
how to
agree with
watch
that.
for your signs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you just said the word burnout, and it made me realize I think that's what happened to me yesterday. I think that
Without
I
a doubt.
just reached my max
yep.
because the reaction I had at my job was not a normal one. And yes, it was extenuating circumstances,
But
but I think it was burnout, you know. And actually, it was interesting because when we left for work, Aaron had said to me, like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes." Why? Because I thought I was, right? Like, I genuinely thought I woke up with no anxiety. I thought this, right? That I woke up and I was all good, and I had so much to do before we left for work yesterday. We had to leave by 7 a.m. So I had a ton of stuff to do, you know.
Right.
Anyways,
your husband knows your
like
tells.
baking things for the school, and I mean, just like so many things to get done, uniforms to be washed, and all that. And I thought, I am just on it this morning.
Yeah.
I am like, I got all this done. I'm super proud of myself. Like, we walked out the door on time, and my
then-
loving husband, knowing me as well as he does,
Yes.
simply said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes, what?" I mean, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then we ended up having like an argument about it because I was adamant. What do you mean? I'm totally fine. And he's like, "Whoa, like, I was just checking on you."
I
mean,
am
it was-
real sorry I asked.
Anyways, so then when we could have a conversation about it, I was like, "Oh, I guess maybe I'm not. Like, maybe
Right.
I wasn't as good as what I thought I was, because I was lying to myself, thinking I can stretch myself thin. I'm totally cool. It doesn't matter if I'm physically,
Yeah, I
mentally,
got
spiritually, and
this.
emotionally exhausted. It's totally
Yeah,
cool."
my well has been, it's so empty, it's got dust in it.
Oh, yeah,
But I'm great.
Like, we've been working out of town all week. We have been having to get up at 4:30 in the morning
oh, Sarah.
to be to these schools that are an hour and a half away by 7 o'clock in
Sarah.
the morning. Like, it's been a crazy week, you know?
Right.
And so I'm like, what? I've been taking like power naps all week. Like, what do you mean? I'm fine, you know? Anyways, but
We all do that. We all tell those lies to ourselves. Of course we're okay. Of course I can maintain that. Yes, I can do this because I can't say no to somebody. And
Right. You know what we forget to schedule in is rest time.
Thank you.
And self-care time.
Thank you.
Like I look at my Google Calendar right now.
Yes.
And it literally makes me want to throw up because I don't have any openings. I have no windows. I have nothing.
That thing that you look forward to, that downtime.
Yeah. And I'm like, you need that cycle of like, we
You
were
do.
created to have a rest day, whatever that looks like. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't have to be on Sunday.
No, not on Sunday. And one of
Just-
the best messages I've ever heard came
Yeah.
from Jeff Mannion, and he talked about that. And he was saying, it is simply a cycle. It is you work and then you rest, and then you work and then you rest.
That's
and
how
you
our
work and you rest.
bodies were
So it doesn't
made
have to be a
to.
specific day of the
For
week.
sure.
It doesn't have to be, because he's like, I'm a pastor. I can't take Sundays off. You know,
Right.
he's like, so I take Fridays off.
Yes.
Intentionally, he's done
Thank
that
you.
for 30 years.
Thank you.
And
yes.
I love that. And when my dad was a pastor, he used to take Wednesdays off. Like that was it. He would have like a day.
You look
of the
at your
week or
schedule and you
whatever.
figure out when realistically
Yeah.
you can do that, because life can happen to where something will fall on that day. But that's interesting, because my husband and I sat down and had that conversation because we were busy 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So we have challenged ourselves, and it doesn't always work well. Sometimes it doesn't work because, life. But we're holding ourselves to, we sit and we look at our schedule and we figure out when the two of us together are taking time off.
Awesome.
And if it's not a whole day, it's got to be a good portion of the day.
Yeah.
Little harder for Robert to do because he's just such a type
just
A,
goes.
and
Yeah.
there's this and there's that and that.
Yeah.
But we both have already said it makes the chaos way easier to get through because we're looking forward to just
That's the key right there.
that appointment time. So we realized immediately the importance of it because of what it's doing for us mentally and emotionally and physically.
Right.
It's not this, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I can take a vacation maybe in 2024 sometime.
Right.
Every week we know we have a breather.
I love that every week, because that's the thing too. Like everybody can push through, right?
For
you can
sure.
go. You can just
You can.
grind.
Yes.
But you can't grind forever. Like
You cannot.
There needs to be
We
a
weren't
stopping
built
point.
to do that.
Yeah.
Bodies can't. They will show you in a million different ways that, hey, we are done here. You
Right.
can keep going, but your body is done.
Like you'll end up getting sick.
Yes.
And that's your body's way of being like, and put the brakes on for a
Oh,
minute.
yeah, I'm going to take you right out of the
Yeah,
game.
and people are always like, and I say this too, I don't have time to be sick right now. No, okay, you don't. So do something about that so that you
Head that off.
Just be, just rest, just whatever it is.
Yes.
You know, like this morning, for example, I didn't have to wake up early today, right? But I did, and I woke up and I was riddled with anxiety. Like somebody was sitting on my chest,
Yes.
smushing my face. I couldn't breathe. I mean, it was just this.
It's suffocating.
It's 6:00 in the morning, and I'm like, why do I feel this way, right?
Yes.
And so I knew sleeping wasn't going to help anymore. And so I got up and I went downstairs, and I was just quiet intentionally. So I knew I had one kid that was leaving for work. One of them doesn't have school today. The other one wasn't leaving until later for work. And I let Aaron sleep. And I was like, this is my quiet, right? And so
Did it feel good?
it was what I needed. And Aaron came down, and I looked at him and I go, why are you awake already? And
You're
he
intruding on my quiet
He says,
time.
I had to take the trash down. So I set an alarm, and I was like, oh, you can sleep in. I'm like, feel free to go back to bed. And he caught it, right? Because he knows me so
understood.
well. And he says, you need some quiet time, don't you? And I said, yeah, I do. I'm like, very, very much
I'm
needed quiet
so
time. And my
glad.
anxiety just melted away. And I was
It's
able
remarkable.
to just be intentional. And then I found this sweet little like wholesome show. It's called Heartland. It was so cute. Because I was like, I just need something like
Something that
happy and
fill
positive
yourself
and, you
with
know.
easy
Yes.
goodness.
Yes. And then I was like, okay, I'm cool. This
See
is good.
how remarkable that is?
But had I filled my morning with work, because I have endless amounts that I could have done, I'd still be all up in knots and just, and
Yes.
to me, that's just not worth it.
It isn't.
So
and it's going to intrude on your ability to be your best at what you're doing.
It is.
That's just the plain nuts and bolts of the whole thing.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're under that much pressure, that much stress, lack of sleep, because when you're that stressed out, you're not getting good sleep.
No.
There's no.
No.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Who you kidding?
No, I totally agree
And
with that.
you're not going to bring your A game. You just won't. And you're always going to be feeling drained and less than, because you are less than your best.
Yep.
You can't keep going. But
Yeah.
my groups, one of the things from the get-go, first meeting, this is their homework for the week. And it was remarkable to see their reactions to it. Because I very specifically, I don't have this big wordy workbook. It is very basic. It is very simple. There is no fill in the blank, no research this, no tons of reading, because every journey is different.
Right.
And I'm teaching people how to become better at self-guiding themselves to
Exactly.
better, not going to somebody to be told. You
Yeah.
have to know yourself. So we started session 1 with, we're going to practice some self-awareness. And they're like, okay, that sounds great. And then we started talking about it, and they're like looking at me, and they look at the first thing, 15 minutes of, and I left it at this word, journaling, and everybody's like, oh. So I just let them have their reactions, and we talked about it. And I said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to talk to you about how I journal. I don't have anything written down. My journaling's all up here. I needed them to look at journaling and replace that with whatever they needed to do for that 15 minutes. Some people, I've got an artist in one of my groups.
Oh, that's what I would do. I
And
would
she
totally doodle.
sketches and she doodles. And I said, if there's a word or a phrase that comes to mind during that time, write it down.
Yeah.
Get in touch with the thoughts that are coming to mind, because those thoughts are telling you something, and you're going to learn about you. And sometimes you're going to have to figure out why a certain thought keeps coming back. Pay attention to those, but be mindful. All it is just be mindful and present with yourself, how I'm feeling, and all of that for 15 minutes, however it looks.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, because
Right.
everybody immediately sees journaling, and they're all like, I'm not going to write for 15
Right.
minutes. And I'm like, I'm
not
don't
in school
either.
anymore.
I know. And push back immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. And it was great, because I wanted to see that. And as soon as they started to get the concept of it, I had a couple of people just say, it's been really good for me. It's been so good. And some are saying, like, I'm looking forward to it, like just that little break, and I don't know what's going to happen. But then I have this one precious soul that is going through it and bombarded from every direction, and talk about pressure. And for her, she's like, I just find that I cry the whole time through. Like, it's so heavy and it's so hard. So I'm like, I'm changing yours for a moment. I said, do you get moments where you'll notice something that just strikes you as beautiful? And I know that she does, because she'll take a photograph of it. I said, that is when you start your 15 minutes. When you've caught yourself in a moment of saying, oh my gosh, the colors in the trees changing right now, it's amazing. Start it then and
Right.
soak that up. Make it 15 minutes of things that, oh, it's beautiful, or
The things that
feels good.
refuel your soul.
Yes.
That just help your heart to
Yes.
be lighter. And
Yes.
Yeah. All of that.
15 minutes. And if 15 minutes, this is for you, truly is too much of a chunk, try 2 minutes.
Sure.
Try 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But just be present with yourself. Get in tune with you.
It's more about the intentionality of it.
It
saying,
is.
I am choosing to do this right now.
Yes.
And that is taking back control of your life.
Oh, without a doubt.
You control that.
Without a doubt.
You know, so many times we feel this loss of control.
Mm-hmm.
And, the demands of life pull me this way and pull me that way and pull me
Yep.
that way. So when you take those moments of the self-awareness, of the self-care, of all of that,
Yeah.
you're saying, I am choosing this. I am controlling this. I can do this.
Yes.
You know, and that was part of my post that I did, was that I was bringing back some control.
It
into
grounds
my life.
you.
And it does.
It gets your feet back on the ground. And it's a small thing. And I love that I'm watching these people in my group, and it's men and women, so I shouldn't say just women, but they're finding out quickly that it is grounding.
Yes.
That something as simple as prioritizing yourself, giving yourself 15 minutes out of 24 hours. Just 15 minutes.
I mean, we sit and scroll on our phone for 15 minutes.
For
and,
sure.
You know, that time's gone by and you're like, what have you done?
Exactly.
So
What have you
saying
filled your mind in?
You don't have the time for
You
it.
do have the time.
You're choosing not to take the time for it.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, that's
that is a
completely what it is.
choice.
Yeah.
That
so
is
what
a
about,
choice.
What about moms of littles?
Oh,
you know, we've been there. We
for
know
sure.
what that feels like. You don't really have a moment to yourself all day long, especially if you have a newborn and a toddler and
Always.
Whatever.
Yes.
So how do moms I'm thinking of a mom that has maybe somebody in elementary school and a toddler and a baby. You know, you've got the demands of the fall schedule of school, and if they're in activities, and then they've got all these harvest things and whatever.
Yes.
Your little one might be in preschool 2 days a week for a couple hours, which you end up just spending your whole day driving them back and forth. And then you have a baby who's on you or with you or next to you
Stuck
at all
to
times.
you like glue.
So where do those moms find the time to choose the time to do the self-care? What does that look like for them?
It becomes a little more complicated situation to fit that in, but it's even more important to do that. And the reason I feel so strongly about this now is because those littles are going to see you modeling something that will become important for them.
Right.
And that means informing those little loves. And a partner, if you have one, or a best friend who would step in to give you a moment of time. And if that means on this day at this time, I need you to step up and take over complete handling of this situation because I'm going to be unavailable because I have a date with myself.
Right.
You need to keep your well filled, even if it's in little bites of time.
I was going to say that could be 5 extra minutes in the shower.
Without a
or
doubt.
5 extra minutes
Running
going
up-
to the bathroom, but you're really not going to the bathroom
for
as all their
sure.
little fingers are under the
Yes,
cat's
just
fingers. I mean, yeah. But that's
centered
what it is. It's I remember when I had littles and I would take a shower, I felt so rushed all the time.
All
like, okay,
the time.
how fast can I get my hair shampooed and blah, blah,
I know.
you know?
There's fingers under the
Yeah.
door. Or
And so instead, it's just sitting there and letting the water run over your face, over your back, over your shoulders.
Yes.
And then maybe it's
And
1
feel
minute
that.
or 2 minutes
Feel
or
that.
5 minutes.
Yes.
But it's the intentional focusing on yourself, not the task you're doing, because the shower is a task.
Self.
It is.
In things, some people really have a hard time grasping that concept. Well, what do you mean by that? So in that situation, I'd say getting in touch with self and how you're feeling would start like this. Like if you're taking that shower, feel the warm water running over you and how that feels. Does that feel good? Are you get in touch with that.
Right.
How does that feel to me?
Right.
Is it relaxing? Then take that breath and then do the relaxing.
Right.
Do, you know that whole, I love the exercise of tightening and
Yes, yes,
relaxing the
yes.
muscles from head to toe.
I do too.
There is nothing better than doing that in a nice, warm, steamy shower.
Right.
Maybe it's draw a bubble bath instead of a shower and just soak up to your chin and just be warm and be present with yourself. Give yourself affirmations. Tell yourself, I am doing a great job.
Yeah.
I am recharging my batteries. I'm refilling my well so you can be a better mama.
And that's just it. I mean, I'm thinking of a single mom, right?
Yes,
that has
it's
multiple
hard.
children, probably working at least one job, if not two, just trying to make ends meet right now. You know,
It's hard.
first of all, you're amazing.
Yes.
You are powerful. You are incredible. You are strong. And you are worthy of taking care of yourself.
Yes.
You are worthy
Yes.
of putting yourself first sometimes because, again, life drains everything else out of you. And so,
It does.
it might be 5 minutes a day.
5 minutes.
Take that 5 minutes. Take
5
it.
minutes
Your kids will
can be a
survive
gift.
without you for 5 minutes.
Yes, they can.
You know,
Promise.
And I used to tell my kids that Mama needs to put herself in timeout for a
Mm-hmm.
minute, when my kids were little. Because
Yes.
I'm like, I am either going to lose my shit with these kids right
Right.
now, or I need to take
Yes.
a 5-minute timeout. And my kids used to giggle. They thought it was really funny when Mom would put
Right.
herself in timeout, and they were like, Mommy was naughty. And I was like, sure, whatever it takes,
Right.
But I would find myself, if I didn't do that, I would explode at my kids. I would scream at them
Right.
for no reason. I would
Right.
constantly
And
be
then
on
you carry
edge.
the guilt.
Yes,
of
and
that.
then that's not loving them the best that you can.
Right.
And so I think so many times as women, as moms, as just females in general, we feel guilty
Yeah.
for taking that time for
We do.
ourselves.
Because we are mom.
And we're givers.
And that's the label we wear all the time is mom.
right.
But I need a name, your name put above that. And
Right.
don't forget that person. And I know that I did it myself in life with kids. We pour into that, and that's our identity, and we forget self. And that's why I now sit with grown adults
Right.
who don't know who they are anymore. Truly don't know. Someone just sat there, just tears running down her face, looking at me saying, I absolutely have no idea who I am.
Right.
I have no idea. I haven't been myself since maybe I was 4. And I think it's so sad. And it just really showed me, because I was guilty of it. Society has failed in showing and in celebrating and embracing the importance of self. Not in an arrogant or selfish kind of
No.
way, but to be healthy.
Yeah.
And instead, it's become do more, be more driven, be more successful,
Always.
do this, and
Yeah.
always going. So
And always going and always having to keep up these appearances of things.
that you have it
And
all
so-
together.
And then we talk about, we went through the craziness of COVID, and then we've recovered somewhat from that. And now we're in this time of inflation, and everything is so expensive. And so people have had to go get,
Life is hard.
like myself, I'm working 3 jobs
It's
right
so
now.
hard.
And, and I work 7 days a week all the time, literally just to pay the bills.
Right.
Like I told somebody I work 7 days a week the other day, and she goes, "Oh, I hope you get to buy all kinds of stuff." And I looked at her and I was like,
Yeah, basics.
I get to pay our mortgage and our electric bill, and I mean,
know.
that's what we get to do, because we got behind, and just getting caught up was so hard.
It's hard enough.
but
Just if
just to
everybody's getting
maintain-
behind,
Yes.
it's hard to maintain.
Oh yeah,
And everybody's starting to slip. Now, I was just reading some articles yesterday that was talking about this. And they said for the first time, people are saying, we're going to not do the big sale. Like the Amazon has their big
Yeah.
thing. The big
the Prime
box
days
stores
and the-
have,
yeah.
all their super big sale days. People are like, yeah, no,
gonna
not.
pass on
We're going to pass on
yep,
on buying all this stuff. And they said this is really the first time that businesses have seen it to this level. People don't have money.
they
It's
don't
not
have money,
there.
and their
And
credit
they're
cards are
cashed
maxed
out on
out. I mean, exactly. Like there,
Yes.
it just is no extra.
And that is horrifying to me because once you're maxed out on those credit cards and you start slipping,
Yeah.
all you're doing is ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. And all you were doing was just trying to survive.
That's exactly it.
And it becomes that slippery slope that can't be avoided because you need heat. We need water. We need food. We
Right.
need, and then what if healthcare stuff comes into play? What if a sickness comes in and now you've missed 3 days of work? It's
Oh yeah.
it's scary times for a
and then
lot of people.
And then we've got holidays coming up. We've got Christmas coming up, and so then there's there's these added pressures of, I think a lot of times, seasonally it's, we have to go do these things. And we always do these things for like the hay rides and the apples and all those things and the pumpkins the Halloween.
I went out for an afternoon to an orchard with my daughter and grandson. Sticker shock every time I turned around and I saw families with multiples there, and it cost them $100 just to get in the door.
Right. Oh yeah.
They haven't eaten anything. There was no drinks, no donuts, no
and again,
nothing yet.
It's a keeping up with appearances. This is what we've always done. It's we have to give our kids the best experiences with everything. And so you have that pressure of, all of this. And it's just hard. It is so hard, and so you add in, now you're working, you've got all these sports, you've got all the stuff, you've got the schools, all the pressures of everything that we have to do. And we just never get a moment to just
be.
Just never get a moment to just chill. And I used to think that like summertimes you would get some of that.
Yeah.
But again,
where did summer go?
Just gotten filled up with anyways.
I
it's
know.
Just insane. I feel like it's just insane.
It really is. And just even talking about this, right now, I truly think it has never been more important than it is right now to say, I'm taking back my self-care.
Right.
I'm taking back awareness of self. I'm taking that back and I'm going to guard it. I'm not giving it up. I'm not going to jump on this train of, the Orient Express, 100 miles an hour down the track. What happens? How much life passes us all by. We're all missing amazing moments. So make it. Anytime you get the opportunity, I'm going to keep coming back to 15 minutes. If you're too busy for 15 minutes, something has to give.
Yes.
It just has to. There's no getting around. I know that we're busy, but I'm sorry. 15 minutes is not too much for anybody.
Right.
It isn't.
Also, on that note, look at your schedule. Look at your calendar. What can you take out of it? That life will continue going on if you take it out. I had to do that with the podcast, to be very honest. When we were going through Art Prize and I was working, I was like, I literally do not have
where is it going to fit
a moment, to do this. And so I thought, it's okay if we take a break.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
And I had to just say that, like, this is okay.
I know. Yeah, I felt almost a sense of, but
because
I
don't want to be doing the podcast like, okay, here we go. We have time to do this. Are you guys feeling relaxed?
Yes. What did we say?
and so when I just was like, okay, we're just going to take a couple weeks off, it was like my whole spirit just went, oh. And then I was so excited to come back today
and record. You are proof positive of everything I believe in my very soul. Proof positive. Give yourself a break.
Yep.
Give yourself a break regularly. Regularly, and don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. And your kids. Let's talk about kids for a minute, because that fall schedule, again, you've jumped into the sports, and then you've got all these activities, and then they've got all the, autumn things that you do at school and the potlucks and all of that.
What would happen if you said, we're not going to do that one? We're going to make that time for our family.
It would be a good experience, and it would be okay.
It is okay.
It is okay. And your kids will love it. They will thank you for it. They will appreciate it.
The kids haven't asked for all these scheduled things. No. And I know that we do a lot of things. It's like making memories for the kids, and we'll have these great photos of these times spent. And I'm going to challenge you. You don't have to have a scheduled class that you have to drop them off at. It doesn't have to be another, let's all get packed up and coordinate and look super cute and go for a hayride here. Take a staycation. Stay at home and have a board game night.
Yep.
Go outside and we're going to make a scavenger hunt.
Throw leaves at each other.
I made my husband, I don't know if we talked about this, if I had mentioned this before, but we got home late at night one night, and I got out of the car and I told my husband, lay down right here in the front yard in the grass. Just do it right now. I laid right next to him. I said, look at those stars.
Oh, you can see the
We
best stars at your house.
laid outside we probably looked like two dead bodies laying out in the middle of the front yard. It was glorious.
And it's those
Every
moments.
bit of the day just was washed. And I'm looking at the most marvelous view. And we're laying there together. Take those moments.
Take those moments. That's exactly it. You know, I find that like a lot of times in our house, because we have like older kids and stuff, some of my favorite moments are just everybody has found themselves in the kitchen. Some of them are laying on the floor. Others are sitting on the counters or whatever. And we're all just hanging out.
Just hanging out there.
Or we're all drawing on the whiteboard some ridiculous things and we're adding on to it. And, you know, but it's you don't plan those moments.
Right.
But if you are not intentional about joining in to those moments, you're going to miss them. All right. Well, we will be back with our next episode. And we are going to talk about pretty deep topic, but I'm looking forward to talking to it.
This is a personal one.
So.
And I know it doesn't directly affect most people, but I'm going to tell you how it actually does. And it may in ways that you don't even realize yet. So I look forward to this one.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you for the next episode.
Yes.
Make sure to like and subscribe and share with all your friends.
15 minutes.
Oh, I love that. 15 minutes. Bye.
Bye.